Very good.
Iraqi forces have launched a fresh offensive to retake cities controlled by the so-called Islamic State group. Several campaigns are now underway in the western province of Al-Anbar near the Syrian border. According to officials, the first target of the operation is Anna, followed by Rawa and Al-Qaim, the most western part of the country on the banks of the Euphrates River. In its 12th week, the offensive has gained momentum since Iraqi forces, backed by a US-led coalition, renewed their push for Mosul a week ago, despite meeting fierce resistance. The commander of the coalition says better coordination between army and security forces is greatly helping their effort.
We're seeing progress before, where we were seeing mostly progress on one main axis and halting progress on the others. Now we're actually seeing forward movement on all of the axes in eastern Mosul.
Although vastly outnumbered by Iraqi forces, the Islamic State militants have used the urban terrain to their advantage and have also embedded themselves among the local population in Mosul.
Eastern Baghdad, Sunday. A car bomb explodes at a market in this mainly Shia neighborhood. At least 13 people were killed. ISIL says it was responsible. One of a series of attacks in a city which police are being accused of failing to protect.
Most of the bombings are caused because politicians are bickering. It's not an outside job and cars are being searched. How come we still have bombings?
Police checkpoints are all over Baghdad, like here in the commercial district of Qara. More than 300 people were killed here last year in an ISIL attack. Now fewer vehicles are allowed in, but local people say it's bad for business and checkpoints don't work.
We should be using the secret services and national security. We should strengthen intelligence. It's no use putting a checkpoint across the street because it only causes traffic jams. That means terrorists can target people in crowded places.
There are about 750,000 officers and administrative staff in the Iraqi police. It's made up of several different divisions, from border control and river police to rapid response and federal teams. Police officers say they're working hard to make Baghdad secure.
God willing, we shall eliminate and arrest all these sleeper cells to create security and stability in Baghdad.
For the people of Baghdad, security and stability in their city is taking too long. Rob Matheson, Al Jazeera.
At night, the unit takes refuge in abandoned homes.
For us, Special Forces, the Golden Division, it's not like in an ordinary army or police unit. The officers and men are like brothers. The ties that bind me to my comrades are stronger than family ties.
Of course we've had special training, which makes us stronger. But our real strength is in our cohesion and our commitment to the mission. If we didn't have this special bond, we wouldn't be as capable. As the captain said, we're one block. We're not supermen, just Iraqi citizens doing our duty.
An American-inspired mentality unique in the Iraqi army. We head for ground taken the day before. Tanks heavily damaged by mines line the route. At the controls, Corporal Jassim. He's 21.
There were a lot of them in this neighborhood. We surrounded them and killed them all. And we still haven't collected the bodies. There's another one there. He was one of the big guys. This is what awaits them. They'll be eaten by dogs.
And now Iraqi troops have penetrated Mosul from the north for a first time as part of a new phase in the battle to liberate the city from Daesh terrorists. Military officials say the troops have entered the residential Al-Habda apartment complex now in northern Mosul. Government forces face fierce resistance from the terrorists. Operations part of a major new push launched just last week to seize ground in the city. Now, in a speech, the Iraqi Prime Minister praised the latest developments. Haider al-Abadi said that Baghdad will soon, quote, cut the head of the snake and drive the Takfiri group from its largest urban stronghold. And now joining us out of South Bend is Mr. E. Michael Jones, editor of Culture Wars Online magazine. Hello there, Mr. Jones, and thanks for joining us on the program. So now, your views, please, on the significance of the Mosul operation and its impact on both the Iraqi military and Daesh terrorists.
Well, this is a sign that the alliance that Turkey has made with Russia and Iran is finally taking effect. It began with the coup d'etat. They've decided to cut off. They decided to stop working with the Americans. They cut off the oil supply line that was the supply for funds for ISIS. They closed the border, and as soon as that happened, the days of ISIS in Iraq, both in Iraq and Syria, were numbered. The reports now coming out saying that ISIS can't pay its troops anymore, largely because the oil has been cut off. So it's going to be a question of door-to-door, house-to-house fighting with the last desperate remnant that are all cut off from the supplies that they need to fight the war.
But yet they've shown this terror group that they're pretty resilient in the fact that
they had this nomadic strategy where they could flee areas that are liberated and somehow come back to them again. How daunting does that make the task of trying to permanently eradicate this terror group, both in Iraq and Syria, I might add?
Well, the problem with that strategy is they're completely surrounded now. The Air Force just blew up the bridge over the Tigris, so they can't get supplies in and they can't get people out. So they can't use this strategy anymore. They're surrounded. They can't get out. That's the problem. That's the problem when you let yourself, when you're cut off from any type of outside escape route. That's the situation they're facing.
And Mosul itself, the Iraqi Premier Haidar al-Abadi said that he was shooting to try to, eradicate Daesh from Mosul by the end of 2016. Now he's realizing it's a much more daunting task. You mentioned it's a big city, and they're going house to house. How well rooted is Daesh inside this town?
Well, they apparently dug in. They have tunnels between buildings, which is going to make it more difficult. There are 200,000 houses in Mosul, and it looks as if it's going to be house by house. So that's going to take a long time. The people are predicting now, the military advisors are predicting it's going to take at least until June before they can secure the entire city.
Thank you much for your contribution, sir. That's Mr. E. Michael Jones, editor of Culture Wars Online magazine, joining us out of South Bend.